Hi, welcome back to another edition of Legal Quilts. Today we're going to be doing the magic circle again. Why? I've gotten a lot of comments on that apparently y'all missed being able to see a really crucial step in this. And that's okay. I don't always know for sure what's actually showing up on video real well or not. So that's what comments are for. Hey, I missed that step. Oh, I didn't see that real clearly. How did you do that again? And so we're doing this, we're calling this Magic Circle. Let's do it again. This is a quilt as you go quilt. So it's really all done in just a couple of steps, and then you don't have to go back and quilt it. It's self-binding. So when you're done, you're done. And that's kind of why I like it, and I do need to get back to this. One of the complaints though was I don't have a finished one. Here's the thing. I have a full-time job that takes a lot out of me, and I quilt on the side, so I don't always have time to finish an entire project before I shoot a video, because I'm doing these every other weekend. I don't have time to shoot an entire video to make an entire quilt every 2 weeks. That's not going to happen, okay? So sometimes you only see, hey, this is how you make this block, continue doing it until you have a whole quilt, and then I might direct you somewhere else. Like in this case, Missouri Star, you can see the finished one, or you can just Google Magic Circle Quilt to see what a finished one is. If I ever get to the point of finishing it, you do have one step. Once you're done, you're done. You got to sew these down, and once I get enough of these to where I'm happy with the size of the quilt, I will show you that step eventually, okay? But today I'm going to show you how you just make the circles, okay? This is a finished one that I already had done. So first thing you're going to do is you need 2 fabric circles, which are, I'm using 10.5-inch circles. Somebody left a comment on the other one, they're using 8.5-inch circles, and then they were like, how do I do the square? So I had to do math, and I'm not sure my math is right. I think that should work. If it doesn't, person who ask the question, please let me know, and maybe I can do some more work and find that out for you. Okay, but you're going to take your 2 fabric circles, and then if you're just doing a coverlet, you just need the 2 fabric circles, and that's a little thinner, shall we say. Okay, but if you're doing a quilt, which is 3 layers, you need a fabric circle the same size of, not a fabric circle, you need a circle in the same size of the batting, okay? So how do you put this together? It's a little non-intuitive, okay? Take one of your fabric circles and put it right side up. Hopefully I'm doing this right. Then you put your fabric circles, and then the other one next to it on top, right side down. So you're doing your fabric circles right sides together, okay? And you lay that out. You can use a little spray based on it, or to hold it if you want. You can put a pin in the middle if you want to hold it all together. Then you take your batting circle and you lay it on top. I know that seems to make no sense. It's like, wait a minute, the batting circle goes in the middle. That's because when we turn it inside out, as you turn it, okay, and you'll see this better after it's sewn, it magically puts that in the middle, okay? So that's why you always put this on the top. And if you're doing the pillow sack type of putting your backing, sandwiching of your quilt, where you're gonna basically self-bind and just flip it over, this is the way you lay that out too. Your top of your quilt with your back of your quilt, right sides together, and then the batting on top. The problem is if your batting's a little wider, you might miss places. But this is okay because it's all the same size, okay? And the good thing about batting is if it's a little off, you can stretch it a little bit. Okay? So you've got these 3, and again, you can use a little spray based on them to hold them in place. Then you're gonna sew them. Okay. So now we're going to sew it. You've got your circle. You're just going to put it under your sewing machine and sew a 1/4-inch seam allowance all the way around. Now you would think sewing a circle would be simple. It is not. To maintain that 1/4-inch seam allowance. It's not hard, but you have to pay attention to what you're doing, okay? So, my foot pedal ran away. Just a second. Okay. You just slowly curve slowly around, always maintaining that 1/4 inch seam allowance, okay? Pay attention to what you're doing. Take it slow. This isn't a race. It goes easier if you're not trying to shoot a video at the same time and talk. So just keep watching your edges and stuff. Make sure you're not shifting anything. And just go around. Continue your circle all the way around. 1/4 inch seam allowance. And yes, you do it all the way around. Okay? All the way around. Okay? So you have your complete circle sewn. All 3 layers sewn together, all right? That's that step. Now here's a step that a lot of people missed, all right? Take your circle like this. This is where your square comes in. Before you flip it over, this is going to be your backing, draw your lines, okay? You're going to just draw lines on your squares. On your circle. Just trace your square around. Now Missouri Star has a template that is both the 10.5 inch squares, or the 10.5 inch circle, and the square all in one piece. But you know how I feel about having a template for everything. I cut my 10.5 inch squares, or 10.5 inch circles, sorry, on my Cricut. And then as you can see, I just took a piece of cardboard. I actually cut up an old file folder. And this is 6.5 inches, okay? So basically, you're doing a 10-inch circle with 1/2 inch seam allowance and a 6.5 inch, a 6-inch square with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So you've got your lines on here, okay? Can you see those? I think they're a little light. You can see it here, okay? So you've drawn your square onto this. Then, see where, pick a side, it doesn't really matter. See where your line is here, and then where you've sewn here, okay? You can see your seam here and where you've sewn here. In between those two, take your scissors, cut a tiny little slit just through the first layer. And this is a little hard, so you like snip so you can get your scissors in there. Okay? And then you just cut a tiny little slit. See? Okay? So a tiny little slit only through the first layer. Okay? Don't cut it too big, all right? Just a tiny little slit. Looks like, here's the finished one. See? There's your slit, all right? I didn't drop anything important. All right, let's cover to that. Then, where'd my slit go? Cut it so small I couldn't see it. This is where you take, I'm doing it through your slit is where you pull your fabric through and turn it right side out. Okay? This might take a minute, all right? But just take your time. Don't, excuse me, sorry, I'm getting over a cold. But anyway, you can take it slow. Don't make your slit any bigger because you don't want it too big, because the slit just stays there, which is why you want to use a bonded batting, because you're going to leave a hole in it. All right, just take your time to move your fabric through. It takes a minute. Okay. Oops. Once you get once you get the other side through, it goes much smoother. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Boom da boom da boom da boom da. All right. All right. Push it all the way through. Okay. And then you're getting it all the way through. And as you can see your fabric coming through, see, you've got the right side out now, and you've got the right side out with the batting in the middle. It's amazing. It's magic. And you take your little, if you've got a purple thing, use that. I love the purple thing, by the way. But this was made for me by a friend, so I don't have to use my purple thing anymore. And yes, he handmade this. I love it. And just make sure your seams and everything don't poke through your sewing, your seam there, but just, whoops, I missed a spot there. All right, I'll have to re-sew that one a little bit. All right, that's easy enough to correct. All right, if you did miss a spot, just go back over it. It's going to be on the edges that aren't going to show that much anyway, but make sure your circle is all out before you do the next step. You want your circle completely circular, okay? And your little thing is up there. Oops, that's not going to be right. Oh dear. Okay, that will be right. Okay, that's your back side. Where your slit is going to be your back side. You want to curl that up. Yep. Okay. Sometimes I'm talking myself through these steps as I'm doing it, okay? I got to fix that little part there. But then, that's it, okay? You've got your circle made, all right? And that's the back side. Now you take your other quilt, where that's the back side. Doesn't matter if you line those up or not, it'll get taken care of later. When you get you can do a bunch of these, okay? And then when you get a bunch of them, you can start sewing them in pairs. All right? Now we can't see the circle anymore on here because I did it on the other side to know where to put the slit, and that's okay. You just draw your circle, your square again, okay? Center it, draw it again. And I'm using yellow chalk because that'll pretty much show up on anything but yellow. Doesn't matter if it's light or dark. And I know you just got my elbow in the camera. Trying to get close-up views so you can see what I'm doing, so you might actually get, you know, large views of my hand. All right? So you've drawn the square again on your top side. This is the top side. All right? Then when you get enough of these together, I'm going to show you the next step. I do this every time. This is not the back side, this is the top side. So you put your slit on your top side. See where my slit is? See where my slit is? It shows up easier on this one because the green and the white. So you don't have to put them next to each other. It's going to get taken care of anyway. But I also drew my thing on the wrong side. But this is why it's important that you make sure you have your thing completely out and as a circle, because once you sew this step, you can't really adjust. So you take your two pieces with the right sides up, okay, whichever you decide is the front. We're going to do this one, okay? You're going to fold it over to the line there, and you're going to fold it over to the line. We're actually going to do these together. No, we're not. That's what we're going to do. You don't fold it over. I'm sorry. You do need to be able to see the line, though. So, that's going to be fun. If I sew that, you get a seam that then folds. Okay. Like I said, sometimes I'm talking myself through this. Okay, there's my line. Like I said, I sewed it on the wrong side, but I can see where the line is there. So when you draw your circle, or draw your square, I keep mixing up my circles and squares today. You're going to then take the sewing line. That's going to be your sewing line. The square is your sewing line for sewing all of these together. That's also why you don't want to use like disappearing ink or something on this, because you got to come back and find out where your square was, okay? When you're sewing it together to later pieces and everything. So, since I kind of put my square in the wrong place on this one, that's okay. There's the line, and you just sew along that line, okay? Just sew them flat. We're not doing anything exciting here. Just straight, flat line. And you're sewing them together. Boom. Okay? So you've got a seam like this, okay? They're sewn together. Looks like that on the back side. On the front side, you have your little fold, okay? Leave that alone for now. When you finish the quilt, okay, you're going to sew those down. That's the last step, is you sew those down, okay? And you just do it in a zigzag fashion. You just sew up, sew down, doot, 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 doot. In this case, put it like this, okay? Trying to do this, okay? You see how those go? With the two pieces, you can kind of see the orange. So you'd sew this orange and then over to this green, and then when you got to the bottom, you'd come up and sew this orange and then this purple, okay? And that's how you sew this. And of course in the back we have the two. This is a really great scrap quilt, because as long as you've got at least a 10.5-inch piece, doesn't matter. You'll get a scrappy look on the front and the back. Now, Missouri Star, they show, designed ones. You can use one color all the way for the front and one for the back, and then you get the back showing through on the curls here. We'll just call them curls, okay? These flat pieces that bend over. And you notice, again, this shows easiest here. See where that slit is? When you sew it over, when you fold it over, the slit is completely hidden, and then when you sew it down, it'll be protected. So nobody will. That's why you put the slit between your line and the edge. Okay? So I hope everybody saw that this time and saw what I did, and that this makes a lot more sense. Again, when I finish this, I'll do a third one on actually sewing these little flappy curls down. Okay? But that's it for this time. Next time, we are going to be quilting the Bargello reindeer quilt. So that'll be fun. It's going to be another one on quilt papers, but it'll be cool. And then Memorial Day weekend, which is this month, we're going to be kicking off Scrap Summer, and I have something so great planned for it, okay? So, in the meantime, if you want to support my work, there's the Ko-fi page. You can buy my stuff on my website. You can drop a line on the Ko-fi easily enough. Or, like I said, buy something on the website. Like, share, subscribe. The more subscribers, the better. The algorithm picks it up. And life is all good. And then, like, comment. Again, if you miss something, let me know. But keep your comments constructive. Don't go like, I wouldn't do it that way. Yes, okay, that's great. There's no quilt police. We all do things differently, okay? The main thing is have fun quilting. And this is actually a really fun one because it's pretty much done. I don't have to worry about a pattern for it later. I can just sew those things down and it is completely done. And it'll be a nice warm quilt if I ever get it done. Okay? So I'll see you next time. Have fun and remember, no quilt police. Okay.